What's up, guys? It's me, Fantasticos, and today we will be reading Trapped in a Video Game again. Last time when we left off, Jess discovered that he got transformed into a ghost and was now inside the game Go Wild, which is a rip-off version of Pokemon Go. Now, let's continue. Chapter 3, Garbage Truck. 4 minutes until the bus was supposed to come, and Eric was still snoring. Hey! I poked Eric. Of course, my finger poked right through him. Hey! Hey! Wake up! Eric made a garbage truck sound with his throat. I threw up my hands. I'd run across the street right after my conversation with Mr. Gregory to get Eric's help, but instead of talking to him, I spent the last 20 minutes trying to wake him up. I tried yelling at him, blowing into his ears, and even throwing that shoelace living ball of fur on top of him. The garbage truck kept rumbling away. Finally, exactly 60 seconds before the bus was supposed to arrive, the truck fell off its bed. Thud. On the ground, Eric grunted and started putting on his socks without opening his eyes. Eric, finally! I need your help! I shouted. He picked his nose and scratched his belly. Come on, come on, come on! He grabbed the shirt from the floor, smelled it, made a face, and threw it back. He tried another one. This one seemed acceptable. I turned my back as he changed. Turn on your phone! Eric, you had better not get on that bus. He did not turn on his phone. He did get on the bus. After getting ready for school in less than 30 seconds, Eric stumbled downstairs, mumbled goodbye to his mom, and strapped on his book bag. He got to the corner of the street just as the bus pulled up. I looked nervously at the bus. 4 out of every 5 kids have had some sort of phone or iPod in front of their faces. How many of them were playing Go Wild? I looked across the street. Mr. Gregory was going nuts in the bushes. I could ditch Eric and hope for the best, but if I did that, my parents would get real worried and call the police, and Mr. Gregory could get in trouble, and we might never get to Mark. I looked into the bus again. Even if some kid did see me in the game, they probably wouldn't notice because I'm on the bus every day anyways, right? They probably think I was just a regular kid going to class instead of an invisible ghost that they could capture in their phone forever. The bus slowed to a stop. I took one last look across the street at Mr. Gregory waving his arms like crazy, then followed Eric into the bus. Eric took his usual seat toward the front, and I took my usual seat next to him. We pulled off. So far, so good. Nobody was pointing yet. I sat still waiting for Eric to start fiddling with his phone. Although he had sworn off video games after the full blast incident, I knew he still played things like Go Wild on his phone. Phone games don't count, he told me last week. What do you mean they don't count? Of course they count. They're still video games. No, it's only a video game if you play it on a TV. It's even the name, video. I pointed to the YouTube video he was watching on his phone at the time. He grumbled and turned away. As Eric played with his phone on the bus, I silently thanked him for not listening to me last week. He swiped past the first page of apps, then the second, then the third, and fourth. How many apps could he possibly have on here? Finally, he landed on his choice for the morning. Meow, 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 meow. Not Go Wild. Meow, 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 meow. It looked like some weird Japanese cat game. Eric! I yelled, even though I knew it wouldn't do any good. Meow, meow, meow. Eric! Meow, Eric! Meow, Eric! Meow, 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 meow. I heard next to me. Look at this! I slowly turned. A wide-eyed third grader across the easel was pointing a phone directly at me and making a face like he'd just seen a ghost. I smiled and waved. There's a kid in the game! There's a kid in the game! I nodded and made a "this is our little secret" shushing motions. Hey! Hey! The kid was desperately trying to share our secret with his seatmate. Fortunately, his buddy seemed to be more interested in catching his preschool nap than seeing what was going on. After a few seconds of pestering, the third grader gave up and moved on to Eric. Hey! Hey! Meow, 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 meow. Splat! Eric looked up. There's someone sitting next to you! Eric looked at the kid confused. He waved his hand through me a couple of times. Uh, no, there's not. He's in the game! Go wild! Eric shook his head and went back to his phone. Gasp! I'm going to capture him! Well, that went bad in a hurry. As the kid swiped through his phone to find some horrible creature that he could use to fight me, I got right in his face. He settled on something probably with sharp teeth and brought his phone back up to ah! When he saw my face taking up his whole screen, the kid jumped back into his sleeping friend. His friend grunted and scrunched closer to the window. I need you to give the phone to him, I pointed at Eric. Now! The third grader whimpered and passed his phone to Eric. I'm guessing he'd never had a video game character demand that he give up his phone before. Eric took the phone and looked at it funny. What is this? He asked. I don't. Suddenly, my face filled the screen. Hey, I need to talk to you now. Eric looked at the phone, then past the phone, then back at the phone. Then his mouth fell open. Ah! The whole bus turned to look at us. Chapter 4. Elsa. Stop it! I hissed. Ah! Eric continued. I put my hand over his mouth. That didn't do much good because my hand was, invisible. I looked up. Kids everywhere had begun to record the commotion. The third grader across the aisle kept screaming to everyone who would listen to turn on Go Wild. In mere seconds, I'd be discovered by half my school. With no place to hide, I did the only thing I could think of. I climbed under the bus. I still wasn't quite sure how the holy invisible thing worked, but I did understand that if I pushed hard enough on something, it could pass right through it. So I pushed my head through the floor, which caused Eric to scream louder. Ah! And found a good place to sit under the bus. I mean, it wasn't a good place. It was rumbly and rusty and kind of hot, but there was enough room for me to curl up once I pushed the rest of my body through. The last thing I did before disappearing down there for good was poke my head back up through the floor and try to explain the situation to Eric one more time. Hey, I'm okay, but I need you to call my parents to tell them. Ah! Eric's eyes got bigger and his face got redder as he stared through the phone at the talking head on the ground. You know what? Never mind. I disappeared back under the bus where I stayed for the rest of the ride to school. While I probably wasn't recommend riding under the bus every day, as a one-time ghost thing, it actually turned out not to be too bad. When we finally arrived at school, I rolled off my perch under the bus and scanned the crowd walking into school. No Eric. Had he already gone inside? Oh no, there he was, spinning around in circles with a phone in front of his face. I stepped out and waved to him. He stopped spinning, waved back, and jogged over. Jess, is it really you? Yes, I need... Oh, cool! Eric looked me up and down with his phone. After you crawled under the bus, I figured out that you'd gotten sucked into another game. How is it? Is it the best? It's okay, I just need... Can I come too? How do I get in? I don't think you can. What you can do is... Have you got upgraded yet? I don't know what that means, but I need you to... Hey, you haven't seen a golden hockadoodle, have you? They're super rare, but I hear there's one around here. If you... Eric! What? I need you to call my parents to let them know I'm okay. Yeah, sure. Why didn't you just say so? I walked around the corner of the school with Eric as he called my mom. Hi, Mrs. Rigsby. Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, he's right here. Yeah, he came over to my house early this morning. Why didn't he tell you he was coming over? I don't know. That seems irresponsible. I gave him a look and threw up my hands. Of course, he couldn't see. Sure, you can talk to him. Eric held out the phone. I stared at him in disbelief. After a second of holding his phone in midair, Eric realized his mistake and took it back. Actually, sorry, he can't talk right now. Uh-huh. Okay, I'll let him know. He hung up, went back to Go Wild, and turned the phone toward me. Your mom said you're in big trouble. Thanks. Well, you should have told her where you were going. I'll remember that next time I get sucked into a video game. A mobile game. A what? You got sucked into a mobile game. A video game is one you play on a... Okay, we don't need to go through this again. I just need to get out of here before anyone else sees me. Where are you going? To rescue Mark. Eric gasped. Really? How? I don't have time to explain, I said, mostly because I didn't know. Well, as long as you're in the game, you should figure out your special ability. I don't think I have a special ability. Sure you do. Every wild thing has a special ability. Like there's one that can call down lightning, there's one that has poison burps, and one that does tornadoes. I don't think excuse me. I don't think I can do any of those things. Well, you probably do something. You should try figuring it out. While you're at it, maybe you could sneak into the cafeteria and let me know what's for dessert today. I'm not doing that. Fine, but if you happen to see a golden hockadoodle, just go to class. Eric gave me a thumbs up and put his phone in his pocket. Then he looked back in my direction and waved his hand where he remembered my face being. Man, this is cool, Eric exclaimed when he turned to walk to class, alone at last. I took a breath and looked around. Mr. Gregory had seen me get on the bus, so he'd probably be at the school soon. All I had to do was stay away from anyone playing Go Wild until then. In the meantime, I looked at my hands. Did I really have special powers? I squinted really hard and tried to shoot fire from my eyes like the snake. Nothing happened. I burped. Smelly, but not poisonous. I pressed my finger against my palm like Spider-Man, got mad like the Hulk, and clenched my fist like Wolverine. Zip, zero, nada. This was stupid. After being up for half the night, I needed a nap, not a superpower. I yawned and stretched my arms. Swoosh! The tree next to me turned into a giant block of ice. Whoa! What was that? I tried yawning again. Nothing happened. I stretched my arm again. Nothing. But when I stretched my arm and spread out my fingers, swoosh! A blast of ice shot out of my hand. Nice! I tried it again. Swoosh! Okay, so I was basically Elsa from Frozen. Maybe I could build an ice castle next to the school. I pointed my hand to the sky and iced again. Swoosh! Squawk! Crash! What was that? I ran over to find that I accidentally blasted a big golden bird out of the sky. It fell to the ground in a chunk of ice. Hey, what did you do to the hockadoodle? Nothing. I thought your blastosaurus got him. Two girls appeared from around the corner of the school. They were accompanied by their wild things. One had a spiky T-Rex looking monster, and the other had a brown version of the Bigfoot I'd seen earlier in my tub. As soon as they rounded the corner, they stopped dead in their tracks. They looked through their phone, first at the golden hockadoodle at my feet, and then at me. Jess? One of them asked. That's when the T-Rex charged. Dun dun dun! It seems as if Jess has gotten discovered, despite Mr. Gregory's warning. What is going to happen, and will he survive the T-Rex attack? Watch my next video to find out.